Happy Friday, Miami. This is Buy, Sell, Hold Miami, a real estate podcast. I'm Peter Zalewski, condo consultant, expert witness, founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club. I'm joined here by my partner, my co-host, the moderator, Daniel Hernandez with Compass Real Estate. He's a real estate advisor over in Coconut Grove. He does single-family houses as well as condos. What's going on, Daniel? How are you?
What's up, Peter? I hadn't seen you in the flesh in so long, and we had a nice little dinner at Flanagan's. We're planning for, not to take away from today's show, but we're planning a really big show next week. Peter, it's our anniversary.
1 year anniversary. Who would have thought?
52 episodes will have been completed at the end of next Friday. But today, it's episode 51, baby. And we got a great show for everybody. And if you're just joining us for the first time today, this is Buy, Sell, Hold. In the bottom left of your screen, if you're watching us on the horizontal screens, that is the rundown. If you're watching us on mobile, it's right there in the middle. And those are some stories that Peter and I throw back and forth throughout the week. And on Fridays, we settle on them and we talk about them. They're statements. And at the end of each of those statements, we got you for an hour, so about 10 minutes for each statement. We're either going to buy because we agree, we're going to sell because we disagree, or we're going to hold because, well, it's Miami. And just like the weather, business ebbs and business flows. So I want to jump right into it. First topic is nobody wants to buy at the Delmore. And the Delmore, it sounds very Art Deco-y, doesn't it, Peter?
I almost confused it with the Delano or Delano, depending on which generation you're from. They're going to be putting up a new condo. PMG's to put it up with that name, Delano or Delano, which is Madonna, which is Ian Schrager, which is Chris Pacello. Well, we're not talking about that era. We're talking about a new era with that one, but I'm completely confused because now we're talking about Surfside and I'm talking about Miami Beach. All confusing.
It's not branded. They just, I guess, put into ChatGPT, gave me an Art Deco sounding name, and they got it. And why would they have to ChatGPT it? Well, because they're from the Middle East. Peter, they've never, ever been, not even to Miami, but to the United States before. This is their first one, and they picked Surfside. Not only did they pick Surfside, they picked a highly stigmatized site because this is where the Champagne Towers fell down.
5 years ago, next month, 5-year anniversary, the world changed just like 1992, August. Hurricane Andrew changed everything. So did this particular site, the Champlain Tower South. When it went down, nearly 100 people died. Nearly $1 billion settlement paid out to the families of the victims. Everything has changed in the condo world. You got the cost of condo living has skyrocketed. And yet, here we go. We got a developer that can be building on that site, or at least trying to, from what they say.
Gentleman by the name of Hussein Sajwan. And he takes a moniker out of Dubai. They call him the Donald Trump of Dubai, probably because he was the developer behind the Trump International Golf Club in Doral. And then he took this site down, highly contentious. A lot of the families wanted a memorial built on that site, which I get it. And then I also get the other side of it. And we're going to be talking a lot about Miami Beach today. But if a developer wants to come in and buy dirt and build a thing, that's their job. That's what they do. And he launched the pre-sales of this, I think, back in January 25. And Peter, from the developer, they interviewed them. On the record, they have not sold a single unit, maybe because the units start at $15 million and run all the way up to $150 million, which, look, I get it. Everybody wants to be Nadim Ashi. Nadim Ashi is the gentleman behind Fort Partners. He put up the Four Seasons Surfside. He JV'd with Ua Colombo to do the Four Seasons in Coconut Grove. He just closed on something close to $400 million in sales in his little boutique building just north of the surf club. Only 11 units, nearly, that's what, $35 million a unit? Not
Big numbers.
Big numbers. Not everybody can be Jay-Z, though, and especially if you're coming in as a newbie from out of the country. Because, this ain't just like coming in and building. You're building in a market. It's a tough market. You're building on a very contentious site. You're building in an environment at a price point where, how many buyers are there for $50 million condos? Fewer than there are for $5 million condos. That's how many. So, what's the move here? Do they pick up the phone and call David Martin and JV with him? Because he wants to JV with everybody these days.
Yeah, David Martin's an interesting name to bring up. David Martin's put up the guy who put up the project immediately south of Surfside that collapsed, the Champlain Tower South. His 87 Park is located immediately south of where Champlain Towers South went down. So David Martin would be a very interesting type of person to kind of bring that up there. But everything was resolved, kind of when they did the settlement, when they paid out the $1 billion to the families of the victims. I don't believe it. I don't believe that this developer's not sold a unit. I find it very hard to believe. Developers are, their world is based on hyperbole. You want a perfect example? Look at the condo developer we have in the Oval Office. There's a lot of stuff that they put out on the street. There's a lot of stuff that they say. I wouldn't count on any of it. None of it is actually defendable. This is not like Elon Musk tweeting out something and then Securities and Exchange Commission comes after him.
So what's the end game here? Why would you lie about most developers want to embellish on the amount of sales that they've had? Why would you say there's been no sales?
It's a good question why there would be no sales. I can't imagine somebody wouldn't step up. I can't imagine you can't bring in your cadre, you can't bring in your follower, you can't bring in your family and friends to come up here and say you're supposedly doing it. Maybe it is a ploy to try to upzone. Maybe it's a ploy to try to gather sympathy. Maybe it's a poor me play. When you dump that kind of cash on dirt, I don't think it can be a poor me. Maybe it's a negotiating tactic. And if you put it out there, then ultimately the site becomes a little bit of an issue. It's stigmatized, as you say. Maybe you can sort of turn the, you can kind of turn the tables. Keep in mind what Surfside is. So keep in mind and understand what Surfside, Bell Harbor, Bay Harbor Islands are. They're a community with the various price levels, and they all have different municipalities in terms of boundaries. Surfside will hit its niche. Then you're going to have Bell Harbor to the north. 96th Street will be the divider. Immediately south of that is Miami Beach. Immediately north of it is going to be the Haulover Inlet. And by the way, Daniel, you know why they call it the Haulover Inlet? This is very interesting. I was doing trivia when I was doing a tour for Sunny Isles Beach. You know where the origin of the Haulover Inlet comes from, the name?
No, I don't.
So before they basically cut through and create that inlet, that was the shortest point. Think Panama Canal. Shortest point where you could get from sort of the bay and the inland over to the Atlantic. So there were some guys who used to hang out there, old man,
you
whoever.
had to haul it over?
You would actually haul your whatever you're not vessel, but haul your boat or little skip, whatever. They would haul it over. They were guys. That was their job, take it from one side over to the other side. And but because of all the pollution and everything going on in the bay, when the go-go days 100 years ago in Miami, they ultimately carved it out in order to create some sort of circular motion. So all of that dredge and everything else, the dirt and grime and everything else wasn't just staying in the bay. So interesting, but that's a little bit different concept. But where I'm going with this is, so you got Surfside, you got Bell Harbor to the west, you're going to have Bay Harbor Islands. That whole area basically is one community. It's separate municipalities. Bell Harbor is going to be like really the expensive part. Think Brickell if you're thinking Greater down to Miami. Surfside would be the central business district, and in Bay Harbor Islands probably could be more in the Edgewater type of area. But everybody's there for a particular reason, a particular sense, a particular community. In this particular area where this developer's going in there, I don't know if he's necessarily going to be accepted. I don't know if he necessarily fits in with everything else that's going on over there. Maybe there's some sort of issue there. Maybe there's some sort of, he's not part of the community. Therefore, people don't want to get involved. I don't know, but I do not believe he could not sell one condo unit in this market. We got Ken Billions. We got Mark Zuckerberg. We got Jared Kushner right up the street. Jared Kushner, the son-in-law of President Trump, he's cutting all kinds of deals with UAE. United Arab Emirates, all kinds of deals in Dubai. He practically lives in Dubai besides living in South Florida. How can you not sell a condo? Dubai. Do not believe it.
He's from Dubai, and he's really cushy with the Trumps. He was in Mar-a-Lago. You don't buy it?
I'm not buying it. I think there's another angle here. When something is so difficult to understand, it typically means you don't have all of the details, all the information. We don't have all the information in a market where hyperbole flows, in a market where we have condo towers going up named after a cabaret. Don't call it a strip joint. How can you not sell a condo on a site like this? It happened 5 years ago. What's the statute of limitations about forgetting stuff? I remember when a guy who's got something called Emerge America now, he was building a tower on Brickell Avenue called the Four Seasons. Yeah. Manny Medina, he was putting it up. He's putting up the Four Seasons. All of a sudden we get the, September 11th. Nobody wanted to go in a high rise. People were afraid to go in the high rise. And eventually, a decade later, they're ultimately able to sell everything out. So I think this is just a moment of time. I do not believe it. I think there's more to the story than we're led to believe. And I would not be surprised if somehow, some way, there's not a poor me play in order to try to get some kind of change or adjustment. But I'm purely speculating. But I'm not speculating on the fact that it's impossible to not sell one unit. Somebody's got to step up and buy a unit, or at least give a handshake. So I'm not buying it all. Highly skeptical.
The dumpster unit here is $15 million, though.
Well, that's what they say on paper. Everything is set on paper. When you start going through the numbers, the closed sales data, you start to see there's serious arbitrage that goes on in these buildings. You look at pricing. Like, for instance, we were taking a look at Flow House. This is the condo conversion that Adam Newman, the guy from WeWorks,
he
formerly
took down
WeWorks,
from Chatreet, right?
Yeah. And we were looking at pricing between, and I'm going off memory here, ballpark $700 a foot to $1,500 a foot. This is how dramatic the pricing is. So whatever a salesperson tells you, understand what their role is. They're on the sell side. They are trying to get you to believe that the trees will grow to the moon. And it never happens. There's always a way to cut a deal. Sometimes your first deal, you cut it, you give them a discount to get somebody in the door. So I'm not buying this. I don't believe this. I think there's another angle here. We just simply don't have the information thus far.
Buy, sell, hold. Nobody wants to buy at the Dalmac.
Pound the table,
buy
sell.
Dalmac.
Pound the
You're
table,
selling
sell.
It. I'm holding. I think they're fishing. I think they're fishing, but I think they're fishing for a J. They want out. They're like, you know what? Maybe this.
I don't doubt that.
I think maybe they're like, hey, listen, we don't want to come back like a dog with our tail between our legs. We're not just going to go to the cell block. We're going to put it out there that we're having a little tough time, and without saying it explicitly, we're inviting people to come and JV with us.
Well, which is what a lot of times people will do to generate interest. They'll go ahead and do an auction, try to bring in a bunch of different people, and hopefully you can bid them up and then JV it out, call it a day, move along. But Daniel, one thing before you move on, how the heck do we attack Iran on February the 28th? How the heck does the bubble, this insulation of Dubai, suddenly become a major factor? How does Miami not step up in terms of the world city types of communities? And how does a Dubai developer not be able to bring people from Dubai and get their tails over here to the barrier island in Miami-Dade County, regardless if people died on it or not? That's the part that's not adding up to me.
Well said, sir. Well, this branding thing is getting out of control. We got more branded towers. You were talking about Dubai. We're second only to Dubai in this whole branded tower thing. We got, and I wrote them down, we got Aston Martin, Bentley, Pagani, Mercedes-Benz, and those are just the cars. We got fashion towers, Bulgari, Armani Casa, Missoni, Fendi, Dolce & Gabbana. I don't think that's getting built. Porsche Design. And then you get into the hospitality branded ones. St. Regis, Waldorf, Ritz, Four Seasons, Baccarat, the standard residences, Edition. We don't have to talk about them today because that's an entirely different show, but ask the guys at Two Roads and Biscayne 21 about that. Vlad's building the Aman in Miami Beach. Six Senses is coming in here. And now you got Nobu, which is backed by, what's the actor? You talking to me? Robert De Niro.
De Niro, Pacino, De Niro, same.
Yeah, same. So we have so many branded condos, and there was one that we talked about a few weeks ago on Buy, Sell, Hold, and it's over on Biscayne and 36. And for anybody that doesn't know where Biscayne and 36 is, I'm going to pull it up for the gang. It is right over here. So Biscayne and 36 is this intersection. And when there was a Denny's on the northwest corner, a Shell on the northeast corner, a Taco Bell on the southeast corner, and an office building, dilapidated, but they're redoing it, on the southwest corner, the traffic was already insane. And now everything except for the Taco Bell, love Taco Bell. If you don't like Taco Bell, you're not a real foodie. Just saying. One man's opinion. But that red square there is going to be the Anantara, which is a brand coming out of Thailand. They're marketing it as the one from the White Lotus, except I thought it was the Four Seasons Koh Samui. We won't have to get into it. Yell at me, correct me later. But the folks from the 1000 group, and those are the guys who put up 1000 Museum, the swan song of the late Zaha Hadid over there in downtown, they took this lot down, and they're putting up a luxury condo tower with this Thai hotel brand backing it. What it's tough. Listen, like the Mercedes, this is not a luxury condo site. My opinion. You're not on the water. You're on I-195. You're not in the design district because you got to go under the overpass for that. You're not in Midtown because Midtown is on the other side of the tracks. And you're not close enough to the edge of the water to be in Edgewater. You are in the middle of nothing while you're in the middle of a terrible intersection. So what are these brands thinking, Peter? I mean, are they just saying like, I'll take the money, I'll take your licensing fee, and, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't?
Well, I think the answer is pretty obvious. They know Carlos Rosso is putting up a bunch of paddle pickleball courts. Maybe they think there's going to be a bunch of people who need hotel space to go ahead and play in his pickleball courts over there at Midtown Miami.
You got to cross 36 and a bunch of train tracks. The most fatal train in the world crosses through. Not the most fatal train in the world. I'm embellishing, but the Bright Line, which is our quote unquote high speed train, it goes 70 miles an hour. I mean, the Japanese are laughing at us.
For the time being, according to Miami Herald.
I know. Per the Miami Herald, it doesn't seem like they're going to last very much longer. For that project that Peter's talking about, by the way, that's down here. That's the Rosso project, Midtown by Proper. Is that what they're calling it?
It's something like, everybody calls it the old Walmart site because Walmart wasn't able to put
is the old Walmart site.
Yep.
One instance of the community banding together and saying, get the hell out of here. But so this particular site, and this is about branded condos. I'm just picking on these guys because they launched this, and I think it's ridiculous that they're putting a luxury brand right up alongside an underpass where, you got homeless people. So come on.
Listen, what I would say is, I was being sarcastic about being close, obviously, to the pickleball courts, but
paddle.
Listen, they're paddleboard, pickleball, whatever the hell it is. They're just filling up space so they can build more over there, by the way. So, but what I will say though is, if and the developers on this particular site, is that Greg Kovens and Louis Birdman? Is it the same developers? Same individuals.
1,000 group. I don't know them by name.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
no, maybe. Yeah. That's them.
Okay. So back in the day, if anybody went down Biscayne Boulevard across from what's today's Museum Park, it used to be called Bicentennial Park. And Bicentennial Park basically was where all the homeless people got to go. So the homeless people would spend a day there, or housing challenge, whatever they call it. Then on the other side of Biscayne Boulevard, in a little bit, in and around where the Apple store was Camille's house. And this is where you had a lot of the homeless people. So you had a bunch of stuff there. You'd have 1- and 2-story buildings that were primarily warehouses. The air conditioner compressors, which were up on the roof, they would have it all barred in because people would steal them and they would take them down to the river and they would hawk it off. You had Howard Johnson was located over there where the Hojo went up. Where the Marquee went up. You had a gas station with a Greyhound bus stop. Greyhound used to bring people in, drop them off there. They'd wander around. This was a no-go type of zone 20 years ago. And you know what Birdman and Kovens did? They went in there and they put up 10 Museum. 10 Museum was the first tower to go in and around there. They had the vision. They had the cojones. They had the mangoes, whatever you want to call it. And they put up 10 Museum. And when they bought the site, they had the one next door, which was the Zaha Hadid site. I think there was a gas station, at least BP or somebody at the time.
Yeah, you should park always the Heat games.
Yeah, you knew that place because they were always $1 and $1.50 more a gallon on gasoline. Imagine with today's gas prices and add another $1.50, you feel like you're in California. But that's a different story. But Kovens and Birdman, for them to go in there and sort of take a shot at it, I'm just saying these guys have put it up before. They understand what it takes. They're not newbie developers. Why I might not necessarily like the site, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt just because they tend to go in and they do stuff. I think they were doing a project up in Hallandale Beach, right on the golf course, immediately north of Hallandale Beach Boulevard, not too far from the Diplomat. So if they're going in there, they're running their numbers. These are smart SOBs, and I mean SOB in a positive term. They know what they're doing. If they're going in there, I'm going to give them the benefit of doubt. Maybe it's a coin toss. I don't know what that brand is. I've been to Thailand a bunch of times. Love it down there. I couldn't tell you about the brand. I don't watch the show. So I don't know that part, but the location makes sense from a hotelier perspective. If these guys really want to bank it and take advantage of what's going on in the design district, what they need to do is they need to talk to the mayor. Mayor Higgins, take that Metro mover. Get that damn thing all the way north into the design district, and all of a sudden, all this stuff will start to work because it all basically stops in and around where the Omni Mall is, the Venetian Causeway. You add a Metro Mover extension anywhere in and around there, and all of a sudden, it all kind of comes together. So, whatever the case may be, I would bet the jockey on this one, even though it looks like they got a long shot.